SRG today? Could they potentially pull off and open up M6 with a major upset?
It's something that I don't hope for to happen, but I would be glad if it does, because I think that would be the best way to kind of set the tone for what Swiss Stage is.
And to set the tone, let's welcome in the teams. Of course, we were talking about them, so let's talk about them a little bit more. It's S2G, the new Turkish Kings.
All right, so we got Sigibum in the gold lane, Pagu as the roam, Begin in the mid, Kazue as the jungle, and Lunar as the EXP. Now, the players that I really have my eyes on, Sigibum, he's in the gold, but for him to really be able to pop off, we're gonna need to see that mid duo really do their thing, and that's Kazue and Pagu. Now, everyone normally has their eyes on Begin. Everyone normally has their eyes on Sigibum, but I think in this game, we really need Pagu to do his thing, right? We really need Pagu to be able to create those moments that Begin and Sigibum in these team fights can actually capitalize. And because Pagu kind of goes unnoticed sometimes, I need him to shine in these games if they're going to be able to win out in this best of one.
Help out Sigibum go into Sigiboom mode, into that MVP Grand Finals form that he showed in Turkey. And of course, their opponents, I mean, we are in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, so make some noise for SRG, Innocent, Hume, Stormy, Sekais, and Cram.
Absolutely, you got the half-man, half-beast, Innocent, Season 13 Finals MVP. You got Season 14 Finals MVP, Stormy, but just like what Trek said, he's looking at the mid-trio. I'm also looking at the mid-trio of Humes, Sekais, and Stormy. The side lanes are self-sufficient. We've seen Sekais go through a transformation, taking the title of Sky Prince, but right now, it's not just about Sekais, it's about Stormy and Humes by his side to enable this Sky Prince to take the throne once more.
I like that you're highlighting Humes here, man. The only player with 4 MPL Malaysia titles under his belt. On paper, he is easily the most decorated Malaysian player that's active right now, and this is also his 3rd M series. Can he better his best rank at 5th to 6th at M3? I just want to say I'm surprised. I didn't know that Innocent had that name. Did you? Is this the first time you heard that? Half man, half beast?
That is actually the first time I heard that, and I like it. I like it a lot. Are we going to see him go beast mode, though? Do we think this is just easy GG's, Husky?
If the Roger is in meta, then yes, right? He got the moniker half-man, half-beast because of his Roger performance in Season 13, where it was a perma-ban against Innocent. He gets Roger, the game is over in under 15 minutes.
But we gotta admit, it's a different meta now.
It's a different meta now.
Yeah, it's very different. So we're giving away some great stuff for you for the MLBB Rising Open. You know what? Just go ahead and don't scan it yet. Don't scan it yet. We're not done scanning it. Now you can scan it. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, please. That's the redeem code as well. It can only be redeemed one time per person. M6 World Championship, of course, we're going to be giving away goodies. We're about to start your draft, so let's talk about the meta. Let's start off with you, Husky. What's 1 or 2 picks that you're looking out for here that might be prioritized?
Prioritized, I think, first of all, it's definitely the Tusin. Tusin is going to be prioritized for sure. Nolan Suyo.
Nolan Suyo. What about you, Trex?
I don't think the Juicin's going to make it onto the pick table. I don't think the Juicin's going to make it on the pick table. I think Cho may be a big pick, but he might also not make it. Yves, another possibility, but that's another one always getting banned out. Some things that might actually slip through. Hilda's been a big one. Suyo might actually slip through because it's something that hasn't been getting picked up as much. But we are in Swiss stage right now. This is not wild card. These are the big dogs. And as we see in every M series, the meta changes as we move forward.
Because he has been getting more and more popular. We have seen in wildcards that Chip sometimes kind of slip through the draft as well, and he has been utilized by a couple of teams. But so far, I mean, we're seeing that Hilda ban, the Fanny ban is a lot of respect from S2G to SRG Sekais. I do wonder if they are going to trade that Khalid for Phovis, though. The Phovis hasn't had the best win rate during wildcards.
Alpha out, Phovius Rush on the side of S2G might actually sound good, but you definitely should take the Matilda away from SRG, right?
One of the few pioneers, the Matilda Meister 5-star Humes Express with that hero. Back in Season 9, when he pulled that out, he instantly became known for it, and people have been really keeping a lot of eyes on that Matilda.
So Cho's still open, Nolan's still open, plenty of junglers. I don't think we prio jungle up front. I like the idea of EXP or Roam, Matilda being open, but I feel like S2G maybe, or SRG, want to be a bit more aggressive here. It is a best of one. You want to try to catch them off guard, and that's where I think the Cho could come in clutch. They go for the Suyo though, so they do prio jungle right up front.
I feel like that's a rough trade to take against SRG because you're giving away the Cho to Yums, and Suyo has fallen out of the grape. Based off of what the grapevine has said, that he's been fallen out of priority, but even SRG's going, you know what, we don't need the Cho right away. Let's get a Gatakacha and get Stormy on his signature Valentina.
Yeah, signature Valentina. We're going to get a Valentina merch next season as well because he did pick it as his hero to go to. But I do like the Gatotkacha. Very durable against physical damage dealers and at the same time has very reliable crowd control, right? Suyo gets in front of his face, he's going to get crowd control and the follow-up will be there.
Okay, so they got to pick up the gold lane here, right? The Bruno's smart, and that forces the side of SRG to possibly pick up a gold lane next as well, or they get banned out, right? You start taking out gold laners in this second phase of bans, but still on the side of S2G, with the Matilda now, with the Suyo, you have speed, you have a movement, you have rotations, you have an aggressive mid game right there, a big power spike around third turtle that can definitely cause some damage. So how does SRG try to counteract that?
You know what? Harith is still open. Put it in the hands of Innocent. Get that other gold laner who scales up super freaking fast.
Nathan, I believe that's how you call him. We call him Nathan here. Either way, he had that late game insurance.
Natan's the right way.
Natan's the right way.
It's
All right.
just dumb. It's just the PH casters that say Nathan.
So Natan's the right way. He always has Claude as well for Innocent if they really want to play it safe. So they take the Joy. This is, I don't think we've seen guys play Joy ever. Not in recent times, right? Not in recent times, no. Not in the previous season, not during MSC for sure, not during season 13, so it's been a long, long time. So it's something that I don't think we have seen before.
Okay, so let's be real. How deep does SRG's gold lane pool go here? Is it even actually worth for S2G to ban, like, maybe the Harith? But what after that? Beatrix, we've seen a little bit of that in the wild card. Could be options. Claude also got the recent buff. We didn't see a lot in wild card, but I still think in the hands of some of the more veteran players, it can definitely show. Phobius ban on the side of SRG, back over to S2G now.
Yeah, good ban there on the Harith, taking it away. So now, little by little, SRG might think about the two marksmen that can handle the map a little bit more, the Moskov and the Claude, considering that, as you mentioned, Trex, it is super aggressive, the lineup of S2G. This is a best of one Swiss stage draft priority. So if SRG decides to go for the more macro slower route, do you think that's going to come back to bite them, Husk?
Macro slow, letting the macro route is what SRG is very comfortable with, but I do feel like it's not going to completely come back and bite them in the backside. There are some merits to how SRG can kind of drag the game out, then push them in a comfortable position. I'm more worried about what's going to happen in that goal lane, right? Because SRG with the Phobius ban and followed by the Vexana, it kind of feels like that this Gatot might go into XP, but because it's a big flex, S2G now have to really decide how do they shut SRG's kind of flex down. The Cho is still open.
Cho is still open. I think that's a big pick for SRG. Very possible here. S2G looking for this next ban. And like I said, do we just hammer in? Cho actually could be a really solid ban here.
I'm
taking it out. Because Beatrix, are you really that worried? There's the Cho ban. So now first pick for SRG. I think they save gold lane here. They
think so.
They push gold lane into last pick and they go into Roam or EXP lane.
A part of me is thinking that maybe SRG might go the other way around because picking Gatot first phase, you don't actually see the XP matchup yet. As an outsider, you get time.
When I give the word.
But you know what? Nah. Yeah, let's go with what Trex said. You go gold lane into the last, and then you go Khalid now. Well, not a lot can actually beat the Khalid.
I think we get an Aurora on the side of S2G here.
Oh, that would be perfect. I agree.
Aurora would help round things out. It's going to be hard, though, to catch some of the fast pacing, to catch a Khalid, to catch the jungler of SRG, but still, it's solid.
Yeah, as much as S2G's draft, at least the first 3 picks is about going fast and going into your face. SRG have a good draft to kind of create this vacuum, right? You want to come right in, we can shut you down with good backline dives, with very great crowd control. So that's something I think S2G needs to think about as well with this mid pick. Now that Vexana isn't there, I think I agree with Trex. Aurora feels like a solid one.
Aurora and anyone who can catch or anyone who can front. A Ruby EXP might not be the best, but
I like it. I like it.
Oh,
we actually called it.
I like it.
We're on a roll today.
Here's the thing with the Ruby, though. We haven't seen it a whole lot in Wildcard, but I think it goes so well against some of the current meta. The Joy, you stop her for just a second.
Yeah.
The Khalid, you stop it for just a second. These big divey compositions, it can counter the Chow, anything that wants to get in your face, it buys you just that split second of time to counterplay.
Yeah, split-second crowd control.
Yes.
The Ruby pick. I have my slight doubts about it because historically in the PH, when you see a Ruby going up against a Valentina, Valentina's so happy because suddenly you have 3 set-up heroes on the side of SRG.
That's true.
Yeah. I think it has to be a physical damage dealer, and the time doesn't look too good because they already have Joy, right? They need some big physical damage for that lane. And the Granger! First ever Granger pick for Innocent too. I mean, not only the Joy, but the Granger as well.
I like it.
Big lane bully.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. It's definitely different. You mentioned cheese picks. You mentioned new picks.
Yep.
Is this it?
Here we go, the very first Swiss stage match. Let's toss it over to the casters.
Thank you so much to our amazing panelists. And the much anticipated first round of the Swiss stage is about to commence. To bring you the action, it's me, Brigitte, alongside Mirko. And off the top of your head, how are you feeling? Because we're about to witness all 16 teams play it out as early as day 1.
Hey, it's crazy. The Swiss stage, we've been talking about this, we've been hyping it up. And to have a big match like this, to start off the day, to start off Swiss stage, this will set the momentum. It's a best of 1 too. And that's why I feel like we can see the Granger here. We can see a lot of these cheese picks actually pop up.
Yep, honestly, this was really on script for SRG at least. We know that S2G, led by Sigiboom, usually really doesn't go that much off meta, and he's sticking with the Bruno. But for Innocent, he's immediately showing us the Granger as early as the first game. So we'll see how this goes for both of these teams. Because if you were to ask me, looking at their draft as early as now, I think SRG were able to plan things out really well. They were able to set up a lot of gap closers in their lineup. And if ever they do be successful enough to overwhelm S2G with all those gap closers, Innocent from afar, he could just do all the free hits and he could just damage the members of S2G from afar.
Absolutely, man. So much poke, really, with the Detonata, with the Rhapsody, the new changes here. And as a gold lane, we've actually had a lot of discussions on the Granger pick itself. You know, does it do better in the jungle? Does it do better in the gold lane? And I think most of us actually agree that it does do better in the gold lane. You get free farm, you get a lot of gold in the start, and it helps with the stacks. But Innocent, he actually goes for Purify. So this is also, I think, something that we can talk about for the Granger. You are pretty elusive with it. You're actually quite slippery with the new Granger. You actually dash quite well. So the Purify is a really good choice for Innocent to just escape from the CC that S2G can provide towards them.
Yep, and I'm eager to know and how he decided to go for his emblem builds. We're seeing the Impure Rage as well, and all you know is that if you don't really rely on mana, you get that additional passive returned on your HP instead. So you get to see an additional layer of sustainability perhaps for Innocent by the time he really wants to, or if S2G even attempts to go for him in the early stages of the game. But Celamon Red Giants, it does seem like they're actually preventing this brute force playstyle come out from S2G. We know for a fact that it's one of their specialties. They really want to force things out early on, but it's SRG.
Sky's really dashing forward. That's a good Terrify and a taunt down onto Begin. Cram walks up with the Terrify as well. Oh, Cram still able to get some damage down, but Begin still escapes with the Flicker. Great setup though for SRG. Stormy dies in the mid lane, gets the first blood under the tier 1, and that should be turtle number 1 for free.
Seriously, he didn't let him go. They needed to get that pick off. So S2G, right now, they're absolutely unable to contest for this turtle. And we're expecting that this is more of a rotation we're seeing from their side. It's an XP lane, which is more active in the early stages. But Hagu, he keeps to be the next target. And Stormy, though, he gets traded as well.
That's an I'm offended over to Yums too. I don't know about that trade now. Cram's gonna be walking forward. Kazoo dashes forward, gets the kill, and Cram going with the Blaze round, gets frozen up, and gets CC down. SRG overextending after the turtle fight.
And I think that's one thing you really need to consider if you are SRG, because early on,
maybe they didn't have those ultimates of Raging Sandstorm, great flicker for Lunar. Skies walks in, Frigid Glacier. Raging Sandstorm, great flicker for Lunar. Skies walks in, Frigid Glacier will be able to stun him up. Skies brought back into the turret to poke down as well by Begin. and both teams will decide to disengage. 18 seconds for the turtle to spawn in the game.
There's a team fight that happened once again right before this turtle that we were talking about. And S2G Esports, it seemed like they really were able to adjust on the fly. They're taking things a little bit more slow because they know that either way, the most important aspects of their lineup, it's not really being noticed here by SRG as of now. Really, Sigiboom, he's just able to take his farm, and it might be this time that we see him also take part in the action.
Good retreat from Kazoo, good disengage from S2G. They know that SRG have a lot of CC, so they just go for the objective and bounce.
Yep. Right now, though, this might be the point where S2G gradually focus on the things they want to build up on, which is really Sigiboom, because at this point, if they really want to be more active in terms of the team fights and they really want to be more confident, then it might just be time that they really need to include their damage dealers. Because even though SRG, they've been really aggressive in the first few portions of the game, we saw how S2G is able to deny them of that. They're able to like interrupt these aggressive plays coming in from Selangor Giants whenever Lunar is part, whenever Begin uses a beautiful timing of the Frigid Glacier. So they really just need to complement it with enough damage and they get higher chances of turning things around.
There's just so much stakes here, you know, at play in the Land of Dawn currently. SRG playing in their hometown, trying to complete that golden road for S2G, trying to prove the world wrong that them winning MTC was a fluke. I think a lot of people still have that in their minds, you know, thinking that Ulfednar is the better team from Turkey. So far, they're going toe-to-toe against probably one of the world's best here, and it's all with, like you said, Sigiboom, getting the boom in him. Once he gets those item power spikes, it's going to be massive. This Bruno, there's a reason it was so heavily prioed in the in the wildcard, and all the way, I would say, even in ranked games, right? So easy to execute, and you can see the SUG at this point, they're really just stopping SRG's way to try to take turrets and snowball.
I agree, because this is the usual kind of Bruno gameplay you really witness, right? But wait, before that, speaking of the Bruno, Sigiboom.
Yep, this is all good for Sigiboom. He wants to go for those fights there. Has the Haas Claws, I believe. That's why he's able to sustain back up. And Turtle is going to be spawning up top. SRG tried to get Prio in the bottom lane, and now they're rotating.
Yep, but Pagu, you know, this roamer for S2G, the moment he came in, he really brought a lot of changes to S2G in the way they play their games, in the way they really adjust and explore some new strategies. We know them to only stick for the 4 Protect 1 strategy before, but now we're seeing how they can really just adjust on the fly, but Begin!
Massive already. Procced in, Begin will be able to flicker out, but again, big resource spent already. Cram will have to flicker too. That's another from Innocent, just trying to read out some of the positions from S2G. Cram heals back up.
Now Lunar, though, he goes in and wants some more!
Right now offended, and that's Raging Sandstorm that catches Begin in the back. Will be caught. Popped in Frigid Glacier earlier. Lunar's still there, and it's going to be free hitting for Sigiboom into there. Kazoo with the dive. Sky's taken down. Innocent still kiting away as Kazoo goes in. Yum's isolated from the rest of the team, and Kazoo will double kill his way into a Turtle Prio. Stormy with a Terrify onto the midst of it all. Going for the guiding whip, but gets boomed down by Mr. Sigiboom. And Pagu, Innocent will be forced back on this Granger, and it's a win for S2G.
You would think that would have already worked for the Selangor Red Giants, but S2G, Lunar decided to pick a fight at the exact same time. They also had the resources, they had proper counter engage. Yums was also there, he was able to zone out enough members here from S2G Esports, but they seemed like they were just prepared to take on the fight that sustained. You can actually feel it from S2G, and it's not just that, it seems like they're able to capitalize a lot more on their innate mobility.
It's so crazy. We were talking about the range for Innocent too, but what he makes up for in range, I think he lacks damage. Innocent hasn't really been able to put on the damage onto S2G. Maybe this Granger pick was just not that good against healing. I feel like the Mathilda has really been able to help them out in these sticky situations, and we do have a pause, and we get to dissect the game even more. So let's talk about what's been happening here.
S2G seems like they're able to read through these plans from S2G or from SRG all along.
I agree with you completely. You know, it just feels like S2G have to read on SRG. They have to read on the aggression of SRG too. And maybe this is because, you know, they're scrim partners with Ulfednar. I don't know, but Ulfednar has had many encounters with SRG. MSC, they were knocked out by SRG. ISF, they were knocked out by Malaysia. So it almost seems like, you know, that could be something that they've told S2G, and right now they're capitalizing on all the aggressive movements. Well, maybe not the first one. Stormy got that first blood. Cheeky little Stormy play, as usual, as we expect from Stormy. But after that, the circling Eagle forward, the Raging Sandstorms very aggressively onto Sigiboom even. I think the targeting has been kind of off too for SRG, you know?
Yep.
Usually we see them very, very clean. I mean, for their engages and their discipline, this is still MSC SRG, I feel. You know, when it comes down to it, they're not a full discipline team. They are a team that is willing to take risks, but their targeting and team fighting is always just crisp clean.
I agree.
And I don't know if it's because of the pressure of playing in front of the home crowd or what, but the targeting hasn't been that clean.
Yep, we are seeing more of a one-track mind from S2G, I feel, in terms of like the targeting, who they want to prioritize first, heading into the team fights, or even just reacting to the team fights being set up here by SRG. But when for SRG, although maybe it's now that we could probably think about, is this much range still benefiting them? Because it seems like their team fights are slowly becoming all over the map. Like they have access to a lot of areas in the map. They can like jump in from afar, use the avatar of the Guardian, or perhaps even just use the Death Sonata from afar and even scout the enemies. But then could we see a more coordinated approach from SRG later on, knowing that they're already this behind in terms of like reaching their power spikes? And again, we've also mentioned, this isn't the typical Bruno early playstyle that you would really expect for, like, for the most part. Whenever we see the Bruno, you would expect the brute force playstyle come into play. Like, they're just really going to force and focus on a particular lane, taking out the energy shields, taking out the turrets, and then eventually transitioning from there. But now they're taking it really slow. They're just so patient. And it doesn't change the fact that Bruno's still a late game hero anyway. So by the time they just consistently be able to do these punishes, they can eventually get the upper hand if SRG doesn't do something.
That's why it's a fun topic to talk about here. You know, the Bruno being a mid to late game pick. Early game, you're also kind of a bully, right? That's what makes him such a prio pick right now. But when we're talking about gold lane and late game, Granger's technically late game too now, right? I mean, he stacks up, he gets way more ways to poke with Rhapsody and the Death Sonata as he stacks up later on, but it does seem like we're just going to get back into the game again. S2G are in the lead. SR.
But then you really have to see some extra work come in here from Sekais as well as Innocent. So would Sekais be reliable and who are within reach, who will be like covered here and, I don't know, being like in the front lines whenever there's a team fight that happens later on? Because as we're seeing it right now, SRG, they're still able to take the trades nonetheless, and maybe it's this point in time where Sekai begins saying that, oh, maybe we should be a little bit more careful and look for the trades for the meantime.
Yeah, that's the advantage that SRG definitely have with the Joy, compared to the Suyo, who's really, I would say, better than neutral objectives, but when it comes to split pushing, it's going to be tough for S2G to actually send people down below. Pagu, you can see that poke damage from Innocent, and that's why we asked the question, is Granger a mid-game pick or a late-game pick? Because you can see that damage already build up. Pagu still able to heal up. Lunar goes to I'm offended over to Yums. The freeze as well, poking him down. Tram trying to shot a bit more damage over to S2G, but both teams are just poking each other.
Yeah, definitely for SRG, this is the time they need to capitalize on their poking capabilities up against S2G Esports. We don't see as much sustain or in terms of like the tanky heroes from S2G as compared to SRG, so they definitely can take advantage of that. But once S2G decides for a commit, though that's the I am offended already used here, then SRG, they really need to be careful. But as we're seeing it right now, they're slowly getting hold of what to do during this Lord Dance. You
can see the poking game that we were mentioning in the early game for Innocent. It's happening here in the mid game. It's Yasamai the Stormy gets an I'm offended over to 2. And it's a guns him down. The combo in the back is a raging sandstorm and an AOG. That's a double. And Selangor Red Giants, they are finally online in the 10th minute of the game.
They have enough ways to scout for the members of S2G, and it seems like the plan is to take them by surprise. What a play from Stormy there, catching 2 members, 2 crucial members. And once you take out all of the frontliners, then that's easier access for Sekais and for the rest of the members to just take out the remaining members of S2G. Let's check out that instant replay right there. Look at Stormy. Look at Stormy. And even when there was a beautiful usage of the Frigid Glacier, it was a bit too late. They had no other resources to prevent the aggression from the other members of SRG.
There you go. That's SRG. Or is that the first few minutes? Man, SRG, we were talking about it, the targeting was not it, and then they just had to adapt in on the go, right? They just had to, I would say, yeah, adapt and get used to the pressure they are feeling here in as the hosts. And they're here with it. It's a Lord in the mid lane charging down as a holy defense. Already procced in. SRG utilizing Innocent's range.
Wow.
Poke them down. Lunar's half HP. The defense is still good. They are able to get rid of it. Innocent though is cutting them down. He has a Datsunada. One more shot. Lunar low. The photo saves Pagu and Lunar, and they're forced back in their own base.
That was so aggressive from Innocent. I mean, they had an idea. There's still no flicker for Lunar, so there won't be any surprise setups just yet. But there's the circling eagle.
So Pagu is trying to run away. The Datsunada hits, but he still is able to escape with the guiding win, and S2G defend. No base turrets taken down.
All right, so S2G, they're still able to defend this in some ways. But SRG, it seems like this was the moment they've been waiting for. Now that S2G might just be gradually trapped in a certain area in the map, SRG, they can play around things a lot more. They have, again, I kept mentioning the Avatar of the Guardians, but they also had the Raging Sandstorm. And as long as they are able to prevent Lunar from doing his job of being the first one to take SRG by surprise, or even preventing and interrupting these attempts from SRG, then there seems to be no problem anymore. They just need to force out the necessary skills that S2G keep on capitalizing for the counter engages, and then there's nothing stopping them from being too aggressive against S2G.
And at this point, I think for S2G, the game plan is we're just going to try to out-sustain you in the fights or get a massive combo. But SRG are never, or should never, actually commit to a full fight unless Innocent gets some trades, right? Shoots them from afar, gets them really low, or there's a neutral objective to fight for, then they would go in. But here, they're just going to utilize that range that we were talking about, and man, Innocent, Pagu, now where he's feeling it. Now he's feeling that damage.
Yep, I'm pretty sure SRG, they're just trying to be disciplined at this point, but at the same time, still putting themselves out there, trying to make their dominance felt here against S2G. And even in terms of gold, the gold laners, you can already see just how ahead Innocent is. He's already full build on this Ranger, which explains the damage that Pagu himself cannot even sustain.
Now, it gets really concerning for S2G because they do not have catch that can actually go for Innocent. And if you do dive in, you're going to be caught by all the sustain. Lunar's low again. Every single time you walk on a base, that's a circling eagle. This very aggressive Pagu. He goes away, Cram Raging Sandstorm, and the flicker to read him out. Pagu in the skies, doesn't even matter.
He was able to set up for an anticipated guiding wind dash towards that area. But even then, he flickered towards Pagu, taking out that sure pickoff, and now S2G Esports, this might just be an attempt from SRG to, again, commit a team fight, but they walk safely towards their tier 3, and force out the Frigid Glacier as well from Lunar.
It's a bait, or a trade rather, Innocent with the flicker, or sorry, Purify, baited out by the Frigid Glacier there. Still think for SRG though, they're just going to take it slow, right? There's no reason for them to actually push in, and even though Innocent uses Purify, it's a safety net that you lose out. But when it comes to the Siege, you're never really going to be in a position where you should be caught, right? You have so much range, and they're just going to use this with Innocent on it. Let's see how they manipulate these waves. Is it going to be a three-wave push, or are they going to take it slow? It seems like it will just be a three-wave push. They're looking for possibly the end.
Yep, and this mid lane turret won't last for long. S2G Esports, they might have a difficulty trying to defend this. I don't know if they want to look for a play still, given this much of a gold lead in the hands of SRG. But they're only able to take out one inhibitor turret so far, and there are other waves coming in, but they will have time to defend these incoming waves from SRG. So it seems like even for SRG, they're not trying to force things just yet. They're actually quite scattered around the map, and they're probably waiting for more information regarding S2G. They do not want to force team fights in areas where S2G might have higher chances of turning things around, but uses the Avatar of the Guardians to get away, and oh no!
Yeah, Sky is overextending, but it becomes a pretty good trade, in my opinion, right? Despite Sky's getting taken down, he did get a few hits there, and it's a base turret in the bottom lane, which is a far lane. There are no objectives for the next 30 seconds, so S2G getting the kill, trading it for a turret is actually worth it for SRG.
Yep. They're now becoming a little more aggressive. They get out of their base, and Kazoo might gradually be able to get hold of his buffs once again. But that doesn't mean that SRG will be backing out anytime soon. Scram still shows himself out there. Oh, Kazoo gets caught!
That's a runner ground. Stormy gonna be caught in the I'm offended too. Able to flicker out to safety as a Frigid Glacier gets placed down. Stormy Boom down. Siggy still doing some damage, dodging away from the Detonata as Kazoo dives in onto Yums. 40 seconds still. There are no objectives for S2G to take. So SRG losing out some of these members is still okay, unless they go for these turrets and siege it down. That's a tier 1, almost falling. Siggy needs a few more shots in. Innocent can't walk up. Oh! If that was a crit, it could have been different. Innocent surviving just barely, will walk away. 27 seconds for the Lord.
And it seems like they're gradually evening out the map. Mirko, this wasn't the scenario we've seen earlier. Even Crab, he's being the recipient of the damage from Siggy Boom. And they take him out 13 seconds right before this next Lord, this level 2 Lord, this enhanced Lord. Or maybe we could wait, they could take the evolved Lord even.
Now that's gonna hurt. SRG losing Skies, losing Stormy. It was all still in the time frame of the Lord not spawning yet. But losing Cram, that's your main initiator. Sky's gonna be stunned up now as Pagu walks up. Sky's no more dashes. Once you get cancelled, it's gonna be tough. It's Sky's dying. Pagu gets the final hit as he fade away, takes the kill. And Kazoo dealt with the Lord. Now he's occupying this bush. SRG, good read with Innocent popping into that Sonata. But now it's an enhanced Lord for S2G.
Why did it feel like, even though SRG had the range, they really found it difficult to commit the team fights when S2G were being extra careful under their base. And now that they're outside, they're being more aggressive than ever. One another! I'm offended!
And a Frigid Glacier too. Good disengage from Yomes. Innocent still in the midst of it all. Popping a Death Sonata. Trying to poke them away, but up top, how low is it? That's a base turret. Taken down. STG still have the Lord, by the way. That siege was only just the minions. They are slowly pushing the wave in the bottom lane, and the reason they can actually slowly build this way. Oh, Lunar goes in for the big play. Doesn't connect. Raging Sandstorm! A flank. Lunar caught in the midst of it all. Kazoo zoning the back line away. As Pagu was able to get the circuit ego to actually peel for Sigibum, who's so free hitting. Kazoo gets the unstoppable. The Frigid Glacier comes in. Sigibum going for the crits. Innocent still using that range, dashing away from the arrow. S2G wants to continue the siege.
That was a beautiful attempt from Crown, but S2G, they were prepared. Kazoo! And could this be it for SRG?
No! The snipe down from Kazoo! Innocent forced back into the base! A massive...
Our panel was mentioning the possibility of an upset, and who would have thought we're seeing it as soon as game number 1?
S2G, the team that was touted.
What an adjustment from S2G. We gotta ask our panel to break things down for us.
Okay, well, if you are doubting our nomination at the Game Awards, this is Mobile Legends Bang Bang Esports. This is the drama of our scene. Husky, Breathe, Brother, as S2G, led by the Turkish trigger man, Siggy Boom. They've done it. They've opened up Swiss by upsetting SRG.
You know what, as much as I'm heartbroken with this loss, it is just the best of one. It's still first round Swiss stage, but I did mention the possibility, right, that S2G can be SRG. And as much as I don't want to happen, you know, the crowd is watching me right now, but it has happened. And everything that that Trek State came through, we talk about the Bruno, we talk about Siggy Boom, and Siggy Boom really just blasted a hole through SRG.
The Bruno.
Not only the Bruno, but Lunar as well was playing that Ruby like a roamer, and just overall, all the way, making plays happen and consistently splitting them up, making space where Siggy Boom could actually pop off.
And everything that you've laid down here, the conditions for S2G Trex when we popped up the lineup, begin on that Aurora. The Frigid Glacier, the counter engage that he would set up was on point for S2G. Husky, what went wrong here for SRG?
I think it's just, first of all, as much as SRG has this big combo, they cannot get close to Siggy Boom.
Oh my goodness, and now we're gonna get closer to a member of S2G on stage for an interview for their upset over SRG.
Hello everybody, my name is Rose, and taking the first ever win in this Swiss round. First match, an amazing game by S2G, and can I just say, Siggy Boom was amazing. First of all, congratulations on winning your match against the hometown favorites. How are you feeling right now?
والله şimdi kazandınız. ülkenin favori takımına yendiniz. Şu an nasıl hissediyorsun?
Yani buraya gelmeden önce kazanacağımızı biliyordum zaten. Hatta bizim koça oyun içinden biz oynamasını söyledim tahmin yerinden. Oynamadı, dinlemedi beni. Oynasaydı çok şey kazanırdı. Çok heyecanlıyım, ayağım hala titriyor. Mutluyum.
He said that predicted that they're gonna win actually. Right now he already even talked with the coach, but right now he's so happy that he's shaking right now.
Oh, he's shaking. And did you just say you predicted the win against Selangor Red Giants? Maybe you can share a bit more. How did you guys actually prepare for your opening match up against Selangor Red Giants for you guys to say that you guys actually predicted such a win?
Şimdi tahmin ettiniz ya, bu açılış maçı için nasıl hazırlandınız?
Yani güçlü bir takım. Kazanacağımızı biliyorduk diyeyim.
Well, we know that they're really a strong team, so we actually and then we thought we're gonna
Çok
win,
çalıştık.
but we really prepare a lot for it.
Okay, now I think we could see the fruit of the labor of their preparation for this best of one. Now, I have a question, Siggy Boom. We all know that Selangor Red Giants is actually not only a local fan favorite, but also internationally. A lot of people are putting their bets on Selangor Red Giants. Now that you guys have defeated Selangor Red Giants in the first round of the Swiss stage, which team do you think is going to be your next, like, a rival or someone that's actually very difficult to go up against?
Sen şu an lokal favori ve global favori takımı yendin. Şimdi bu RSG'den sonra hangi takım sizi zorlukla çıkarabilir?
Yani abim gelmesin, kalan takımlar gelebilir.
He said, as long as it's not my brother's team, any team can fight us.
As long as he's not going up against his brother, any team cannot go up against them. Okay, Sikibo, maybe last words to your fans, especially to the people watching in your country before I send you off.
Fanlar bir söz var mı? Buradan ve Türkiye.
Beni desteklediğiniz için teşekkür ederim. Takipte kalın. Daha çok gururlandıracağız size.
Thank you for supporting me. Keep watching and we will make you guys proud.
All right, an amazing one. Thank you very much to Siggy Boom. And with that, let us show it over to the panel to break down what happened in this game versus Selangor Red Giants.
Terima kasih, Rose, and of course, Siggy Boom, the Turkish trigger man on your screens who helped lead S2G to their first Swiss stage victory over SRG. I still can't believe the words coming out of my mouth. But again, this is why we had the Swiss stage in the first place. The surprises, the drama, and the chance for regions often overlooked to shine unlike any other. The question was posed at the top of the panel, gentlemen. Is S2G up there on par with Ulfidnar? And I feel like it's yes.
Yeah, I think it's definitely yes. We saw Ulfidnar, we saw Fireflex in the past. They were a dangerous team to go against in group stage. They've beaten teams like Blacklist. They would consistently get upsets. And S2G is living up to the name of Turkey right now, taking out a huge team before knockout.
Yeah, Ulfanar even mentioned, right, they wanted to get revenge against SRG in M6 at some point, maybe if not Swiss stage, then playoffs because of MSC's results. Well, they don't need to do that now because S2G has already done it. And that means if S2G can do it, Ulfanar has a chance, Turkey has a chance.
Yes, Turkey, I'm pretty sure they are filled with delight right now as their defending champions were able to take it. Let's look at the key moment that Trex would lovingly break down for us for S2G. It was turtle fight number 3.
Yeah, this is the good, the bad, and the disgusting. Now, Lunar making this play looks bad, but very good. Zoning Innocent back, right? Able to create space. Stormy never able getting it all, but watch Siggy Boom. He never uses his flicker here. He saves it. He hangs on to it until he truly needs. He's so great at limit testing these fights, and he holds on to it all the way to the end there when Stormy jumps in, and this is when he flickers back. He buys enough time, buys enough space, and takes that fight now one more time. Again, Lunar, we think it's a big mistake here, but look at the way he pushes Innocent back. Stormy a little bit late to this fight, and even Stormy, even Innocent, not getting a big ult off on that Death Sonata. The fight just went so perfectly into S2G Esports' hands here, and after this, when they were unable to create that space, they were unable to win team fights. But when they finally got those wins in again, it was because they create space. Lunar does such a good job. I mean, the Aurora, the Frigid Glacier does such a good job. Yeah. All of it, such a great job at making sure Siggy Boom can go boom.
Yeah, and on top of that, also Trex mentioned that Pagu is a very important pillar for S2G, the Pagu Express, right? Constantly helping Sigibun reposition in these fights. SRG, once they commit, they find it so hard to fight SRG, who has key members all over the place.
Yeah, there was something that you were mentioning to me, Husky, about how SRG looked like they were playing here. Something about it looked like they were looking to punish S2G's team fighting?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was expecting to happen looking at the draft of SRG. Sure, they have a big team fight draft. They're pretty strong sieging with what we saw from Innocence Granger once he got those items. But the one thing that, again, has been stopping SRG from winning these fights is Sigibum. They have no way of getting close to the Bruno. They've attempted multiple times, but every time Krem or Yums jumps on top of him, Pagu just pulls Sigibum to a safe spot, and it's just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, how S2G took care of their Bruno here was absolutely world class. For SRG, as we were talking behind the scenes, it seems like it's a very difficult task actually for them to catch that Bruno. Again, it's not packing a Purify, it's packing a Flicker that is held onto for majority of the times. And for SRG, even though it looks like they have a lot of capability to reach to that Bruno, it's like they have to say, hey Yums, when you do this, Stormy, when you do this, finally someone can go in. It's complicated to pull off.
Yeah, and you know, taking a look at some of the items, S2G, Sigiboom, it took him a while. I was looking at the items on screen, and it took Sigiboom a while to get everything locked in. Innocent was there, I mean, after 3 kills, he was ready to go, and we saw him switch to being that frontline player.
Yeah.
But once Sigiboom got everything locked in, he started to really be a threat. He started to be a bit more comfortable in those fights.
I think that's also one of the reasons why Sigiboom was comfortable in this one. The man was packing tenacity.
Yeah. Packing tenacity, you survive the oppression from Innocent in the early game when he tries to keep poking him with the Rhapsody, and in that late game as well, right? Once he got that Malefic Gun, that extra range, he literally just outranged everyone from SRG.
Yeah, outrange, outpoke. Malefic Gun, yes, was the key figure there for S2G. Nothing else too crazy for
that
them.
tenacity, though. That's such a clutch pick, and that's why he was like, even when he was going up against Cram in the fight that we showed highlight, he's just sitting there with him, man, taking shots to the face and fighting back, and his health gets low, and they just can't get him past that 10% mark. They can't get him all the way down. And that's the survivability that he needed.
Yeah, you know how sometimes when we're playing our ranked games and maybe we're playing a backline and we're just saying, yeah, go ahead, it's fine. I'm okay here. It's not hurting me that much. And yeah, for Sigiboom, he got to show it, the trust with his teammates. As we look at the gold, though, Innocent was able to get a lot here. Oh, that's the damage dealt. Okay, let's talk about first the Granger. I feel like it was the presence we expected it to be. Eventually, as you mentioned, Trex, it became a frontline marksman. It was poking first.
And you know what wasn't, I think, the expectations that we needed to be? Stormy's damage. Yes, it felt like it was all Innocent there. And Stormy just a little too low. Begin sitting at 43,000. You know, Kazue sitting at 64,000. Everybody on S2G was holding their own in these team fights and outputting, whereas SRG, it feels like some of the rest of the teams just weren't throwing punches enough, right? Maybe not outputting, and maybe it's because they were getting stopped in their tracks. Maybe it's because they weren't able to get in there, or the item build.
It also seems like there was no opening at all for this Joy. Only 25,000, almost 26,000 damage dealt.
Yeah, there's no finisher from SRG, right? You have someone to start the job, but you have no one to clean up the mess that Innocent has made. And I think this gold graph is a very good depiction of what happened. S2G had a sizable lead. SRG with the Stormy team fight, the stolen I'm Offended, brought it back. And then the second Lord fight happened. S2G got a fully slaughtered out Bruno, started winning team fights, but SRG lost composure. They kept funneling in one by one. Sagai's got caught, Scram got caught afterwards. Desperation move didn't work out at the end.
Yeah, I feel like this gold graph shows both teams really knowing their power spikes, right?
Yeah.
S2G having the Suyo, able to really pop off in the early game, and then SRG finding that mid-game spike, finding that first Lord, second Lord, just slowly continuing, but as it got into late game, as it got into maxed items out, S2G is back in there, finds the groove, and knows that, okay, we can fight now. We can take those Death Sonatas to the face and still be able to hold on and kind of dodge around. Lunar got more comfortable. He wasn't getting one shot anymore, and the rest of the team able to win it out.
And of course, our MVP here, it's actually going to be surprise. It's Kazue as this Suyo being able to get those key retribution battle wins. Of course, the name of the game when you're going up against a team that loves objectives is, well, winning the retribution and getting those lords. And he got the lord that mattered there in the end.
Yeah.
Only the last Lord matters, right?
Only the last Lord
Only the
matters.
last Lord matters.
Lord 1, Lord 2, forget about it. Whatever Lord you get to help you win, that's the most important.
And his team made it a no contest, right? They took out Sakai's Lunar, able to find where Sakai's is and kind of finish the job. And even after that, S2G set up such a good slow push, right? This slow burn from that bottom lane where the Lord was, and when it finally crashed, SRG just couldn't defend.
Yeah, and to add to that, I remember there was a moment we were scratching our heads as to like, how did Sakai's get caught up in the top when they were all pushed forward? And I think it was because Kazue was actually able to get a hold one stun onto him right under the turret, which meant Sakai's got a few hits, and then I think there was another member of S2G there who was close enough to help finish off Sakai's. That led to eventually S2G getting more space. But other than that, I feel like Kazue going 6-0 and 5 here. Just goes to show that, yeah, he well deserved of the MVP. One of the jobs of the junglers is the simplest job, but hardest to execute. Just don't die.
Yeah, and I think, you know, he almost goes as the unsung hero. I'm glad he gets MVP because really without that early game pressure that he supplied,
yeah,
S2G would have never got to the late game, right? Without him kind of controlling, with giving them that small gold lead, giving them enough presence, and being a decent frontliner as well as a damage dealer is huge.
The amount of backline dive he brings to the table, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily one-shot the backline, but again, just like Lunar, he creates that vacuum in between the damage dealers of SRG and S2G.
Yeah, and in that cram gank, that last big team fight, it was actually him diving to the back onto Stormy and Innocent.
Yeah.
Which is why they were able to eventually set it up for Sigiboom to finish everything up. And crazy, crazy way to start off a Swiss stage of the M6 World Championship, gentlemen.
Yeah, pure insanity. I mean, we wanted some excitement. Literally right before we got on this desk, everyone was wondering, is there going to be any crazy matches? Are these all going to be one-sided? I feel like a lot of people said they were going to be one-sided. Well, we're already starting things off rickety here. We're already getting crazy in the Swiss stage.
Remember, in this portion of the Swiss stage, it's still best of ones. Once it gets to the portion where teams are either 2-0 or 0-2, that's when we'll start seeing the best of threes. Potentially up next for SRG, the defending champions of Malaysia, and of course, the MSC champions, the team, one of the favorite teams to win it all here in M6. They still have a chance to go into the 1-1 bracket, 1 win, 1 loss, but still will be fighting best of ones once they get there. Husky, how you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling okay. I mean, they still got 2 more. Don't let this get you down, right? It's still the early stages, best of ones, and I think most importantly, there is sort of some wiggle room for you to kind of still test the waters a little bit, see what the teams are doing before you bring out all the guns.
Coming up next, we're gonna bring out the big guns. One of them in our major matchups for today, it's Ulfednar of Turkey versus BTK. Trex, you nervous? Oh, what's happening, man?
Listen, it's been a rough year for NA, man. We had a really good year, and then we had a really bad year. Ulfednar, on the other hand, I mean, Turkey's just been consistent. They've been probably the most consistent non-SEA region out there over the past two or 3 years?
Yeah.
Since M4. Like I said, they've never broken top 8. They always get 8.
Yeah.
But still, it's a lot better than a lot of other non-SEA regions, and we saw Ulfednar in Wildcard. They looked amazing. You know, I was talking to BTK the other day, and I said, don't come into this match, you know, thinking they're jokes. Make sure you're ready to play against Ulfednar because they are a good team. Like, these are 2 of my favorite teams. And I'm 6 right now, and I gotta watch them fight on day 1.
Oh, it's a treat for you. It's a treat for you here. All right, so we got Ulfednar and BTK Turkey versus North America in the upcoming match. Again, this is the M6 World Championship Swiss stage for the first time ever. Already making history to be greater than ever. See you in a bit.
for ultimate glory starts now.
M6 スイスウォッチ。Hello Panda, Hello Panda, semua suka biskuitnya. Biskuitnya enak, isinya lezat, rasa coklat dan strawberry. Hello Panda, semua suka biskuitnya. Biskuitnya enak, isinya lezat, rasa coklat dan strawberry. Hello Panda, biskuit isi yang enak.
As time goes by, things look similar, but a lot of more things change. They evolve. Ulfidnar, formerly known as Fireflux Esports, the old kings of Turkey, now will face off against the bloodthirsty kings of NACT. BTK returning to the world stage. Once again, welcome to the panel. My name is Renmar Santa Cruz. Just call me Renmar. I'm still with Husky and Trex. Why does it look like you're a little bit further from... Oh, wait, no, that...
Out there, they just swept through wild card, and they're coming into knockout phase. They're coming into a Swiss stage to go up against BTK, and I think it's going to be a great demonstration of where these two teams stand, right? They're not going up against, you know, an S tier. they're not going up against a Filipino team. They're going up against each other, which I think stand at a similar pedestal.
Yeah. So I love that you've already laid down here what to expect for Ulfidnar and BTK in terms of their story. And let's lay down some goodies for the people watching at home right now and for everyone who's watching M6. From November 18th to December 29th, you can participate in the M6 Lucky Gift. Join the draw for a chance to win Claude's new Epic Skin, Challenger's Flare, and Beatrix's new M4 Epic Painted Skin. Oh, they brought it back and painted it? That's pretty cool. Don't miss this rare opportunity to get Beatrix's M4 exclusive and M4 Prime skins returning for a limited time. So it's a throwback to the past for us in terms of the skins. But for Ulfidnar and BTK, I don't know why. There's something about this match that I feel like we might see the return of some old favorite, I don't know, playstyles.
Well, I want to see the BTK Flare, right? I watched the NACT finals. It's probably one of the craziest reverse sweep I've ever witnessed. That was kind of a journey in of its own, but also you get to see the individual flavor from the side of NA, right? Like, again, Mobile Zane has been see him go up against Ulfidnar.
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, there could be some flair. I have a feeling BTK is going to come into this very solid. Not any big cheese picks. I know everyone's expecting like the Granger jungle or the YSS jungle.
Paquito.
But I think we are past that. And it is a best of one. And I think these boys are hungry. And it's the same thing from Ulfidnar, man. They are very, we used to call their composition the Turkish Delight. It was very Ube-esque, right? It was their own brand of that old school blacklist. And I think both of these teams are going to come into this drafting their best. No cheese picks. Just plain clean MLBB.
Yeah, if straight up Ulfidnar can come into this and say, you know what, let's just make sure Tienzi can go up with something like the Ling, which he absolutely tore the house down with during the wild card, then why the heck not, right? Even though Ling has somewhat fallen out of favor, they've proven in the wild cards how comfortable they are playing with that hero in the hands of their jungler. And of course, Rosa, the Thorn Queen, will be going up against the mid laner who took it lying down but won a championship in North America with it in Hoon. What can you tell us about Hoon and his playstyle?
Hoon it feels so back and forth. You go back to M4, he was very aggressive on the Valentina. There's still this play going on in my head, the Grok wild charge to get the knockup. He is an aggressive guy, but then we go into, you know, M5 times, MSC times, and sometimes he gets a little stuck in the mid lane. So he's going up against Rosa here, a very aggressive mid laner. He's got to be able to keep up.
So for Mobile Zane, he says it feels great to be under the BTK name again, but our success depends on how well we capitalize on mistakes. This meta is all about team fights. The team that moves as 5, the cleanest, you mentioned clean MLBV here, Trex, with the fewest mistakes will win. There is a quote with what Hoon said about, of course, a dramatic reverse sweep in NACT as well. I'll give you all the time to read that, but as you casted the wild cards, Husky, how clean is Ulfidnar in your eyes in terms of their gameplay?
I think overall, aside from one underwhelming game against the FYG in their decider match for Group A, every single game we've seen from Ulf has been as clean as it can get, right? Again, Tienzi has been a big part of that, Rosa as well, the Thorn Queen. Arguably, if you look at the game that Ulfidnar kind of dropped, Sunshine was sort of like the weakest link, but only for that one game. Everything else looks just squeaky clean.
So as Ulfidnar, I've seen the beats of the community about how they speak about this team, how good they are, how much they've been praised. They are not known in NACT for punishing mistakes and exposing them right away.
I mean, at least in NACT is that laning phase. Rubber Band, they're willing to kind of take things slow sometimes and then punch back in the mid.
Wildcards, he'll color his hair into the colors of Ulfidnar. The Swiss stage can be quite dependent on luck. If you're unlucky in the first round, you could meet either Liquid ID or Fnatic Onyx PH, lose another round, and could easily be SSC see you next time. I think the Swiss stage would be more exciting if there were more teams, so that teams are randomized closer to their capabilities. You know what I get from that quote? That's a coach who's going into this with the mindset of every game is probably World Championship match point already.
Yeah, you gotta play every game as if it's your last, right? Whether it's Swiss round, whether it's playoffs, and considering the journey that they had to get to this point, a topple by S2G in their own region, having sort of branded kind of a fallen empire, having to go to wild cards, and being the second Turkish team to be in on the M6 main stage in the first time in history.
Yeah.
There's pressure for sure, but I also understand the sentiment of playing every single game like it's your last.
So, One of the main roles in this current metagame right now are the EXP laners. I want to talk to...
I don't think he's going to try to exactly win lane in the sense of like getting kills, but I do want to see him on a more aggressive EXP lane, someone that can make sets. We saw it in NACT Grand Finals. They lost every game that they put him on for sure, but once they put him on something a little bit more aggressive, he was able to help make plays. He was able to get to those back lines. Kind of
I'm putting words in your mouth. 1-0 BTK, your prediction?
hold on, let me.
Yeah, I mean, I've already gone through Heartbreak, so I'll go for Ulfundar.
Ooh, okay. I think I'm going to go Ulfundar for this one.
Okay, not in your top 8.
So, my question is 1-0 and Ulfundar 1-0 for both of us.
Oh,
There we go. So it's
it's
immortalized,
like-
and yeah, so we're gonna get memed on by NACT if ever BTK wins it here. Totally cool. We love you, NACT.
We're used to it.
Yeah, we're used to it. So Trex got to talk about.
I think he definitely has. And over time, you look at how Alien kind of approaches the game. I think Flight Chicken will be a very, very good matchup to go against. Came into this looking incredibly clean. A big win.
Ulfundar definitely will give BTK a run for their money in terms of trying to catch the Thorn Queen. But of course, their opponents from North America, it's America himself. Who are you looking at here for BTK?
Shark as the roam, Hoon in the mid, Mobazane in the jungle, and Fly Chicken in the EXP now. Now, I know you guys were talking about EXP, but for me, it is all Shark and Hoon up against Sawo and
Apex 47.
Apex 47.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Sorry.
Apex 47.
My bad. Up against Apex 47 and Rosa. I mean, Shark, 4th time consecutive in the M stage, but these two need to be fast moving. They need to be aggressive. They have to put the pressure. Pressure onto Rosa and keep Rosa on Rosa's side. Of the river if they lose that control, they can lose control of the game.
Control. About the center of the map. That is the key. Homer has shown to be the Apex these. You guys do this a lot in Malaysia. Okay, so I'll do the top, then you do the yellow side. So I'll go, wow, coach. You dyed your hair.
Yes, it's Ulfidnar's color.
You can think.
I promise. I promise the team.
Some possibility still for Ulfidnar. We're on the second phase of bans, though. Ulfidnar taking out the Moskov. There is still a Beatrix open for Zia here. It's something that he has fallen back to for comfort before. On the side of BTK, I think we go into another possible EXP lane ban here.
I agree. I think the choices for marksman at least.
Ban here.
I agree. I think the choices for marksman, at least for Ulfidnar, there is still the Natan that Sunshine has shown, and it has been one of the hot commodities during the wildcard stage when you want to go that late game. But again, well, I forgot that Bruno is there, so Natan is out of the question. So there's still Rosa's pick, right? The Vantia doesn't look that
Lilia?
good anymore. Lilia.
Back to the Lilia?
We could go back down that route, right?
Jungle, it used to work, and it's a favorite pick for Rosa. I know it's not meta right now, but
it might help again, because if BTK decides to go into, definitely Harith is still an option for them. And if there's a Lilia on the other side, the Lilia will give the high loss of Fredrin and the Harith a lot of difficulty. And then that'll force BTK to switch into a different magic damage jungler. The lineup of BTK to me screams like they definitely need magic damage in the jungle. So instead of going for the Lilia, they still go for the control and the still relatively good amount of burst in the Aurora. And that is still good for slow front-to-back style of lineups.
And I mean, the Aurora overall, I think, is one of the top tiers right now outside of the Eve and the Jushin. And what it supplies against some of the other fighter junglers, it will still supply against the Fredrin. It will still supply against enemies that just want to walk up to you, right? So a decent answer. Here comes the Granger. All right, so do we actually think the swap could come? I do not. I think it's going to be Zia Granger, but I know the fans are hoping maybe for something different.
Yeah. No. Zia Granger.
Zia Granger, for sure.
There's EXP. Yes.
Yes.
Is it Roam Hylos?
Identity control that stops the show from moving, stops the joy in place.
Yeah, look at that. Glue is the last pick. Up against a slow trotting lineup. That's actually great. Can't hear what we think, but Mirko, bring it up. What do you guys think about the draft?
Thank you so much to our panelists. And again, we're heading into the second series of the day between the Turkish All-Star and the returning BTK. What do we think about the draft? I mean, we're seeing the Joy for the second time, but we're seeing the Fredrin as well for today. That's a bit surprising for me, if you would ask.
I agree, man. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, is it really surprising? If you know MOBA Zayn, the biggest criticism from everybody, a lot of his haters, they say he can't play Assassins. And yeah, that might be true. That's why he's called MOBA Fred. So we'll see how good MOBA Fred is here on the Fredrin in the Land of Dawn for a best of one.
Yep, definitely they had to force out a response here from Ulfidnar. We're seeing the glue being picked up even as a way to respond to all this. And yeah, it's MOBA Fred coming back here, and he's facing off against Tianzi, both junglers who I think we really need to watch out for because they're very keen on getting that jungle control and advantage in terms of the farming. But how efficient will our XP laners be in the early game, in the early skirmishes? Because if you were to look at the glue up against an Arlo, what are your thoughts about this matchup?
I mean, the glue against the Arlet is a matchup where, I think for the Arlet, mainly, you don't really want to go for any trades here. All you want to do is farm up, wait for level 4, and then participate in the fights.
Yep.
I think most of the fights we're going to see in the mid lane, this is a very aggressive Loyi Hylos against a very aggressive Cho and Aurora too. So it's all about the mid lane here, and you can already see that Lethal Ignition and Bargain Hunter. Man, Hoon is going for that snowball for sure. He's doubling down on the early game power of the Loyi.
Yeah, and how will Hoon create all this space, especially with the Lui, one of the best mages who you could rely on in terms of doing that. So they can really take Ulfidnar by surprise every now and then whenever they want to. But then Another thing I think we have to really watch out for is Zia once again showing us another Granger gold. Earlier, it wasn't as successful, but all things considered, the lineup right now that Bloodthirsty Kings have decided to field for this game, it seems like it could be a little bit more coordinated in terms of whenever they want to pick the team fights.
It's also much better as a front-to-back composition. Well, Tex, good read on that. It's a Shunpu out here. And I do want to talk a bit more of the Arlet pick, right? Because the Arlet is something we don't really see too often nowadays, but with the Fredrin in the jungle, it does make sense for you to go for the Arlet. You get so many resets. Starts to be caught, pops in Revitalize, goes over to Sun, the final slash will connect on the Tianzi. Full lock up there, first blood for Hoon.
That was unfortunate. The sustain was still there for Shark. He had his Revitalize ready. And now Ulfinar, they lost one member just right before this turtle. But it seems that once Tianzi gets hold of his purple buff, will they try to still attempt for this turtle contest?
I guess we'll see. Apex is walking up, no level 4 just yet, so no way of the dragon. In for a bit of damage. Version into the back right now. Full flank with the glorious pathway down. Who going to be able to put up some damage as Alien goes in for split. Zane still looking for the Red Tree. Tianzi walking up as well. It's a 50-50. Jikundo over Red Tree. Moba Zane wins it up. The split onto him, now mounting Mobazane. Shark in the midst of it all, still caught there. Just get away to Dragon to bring him back, and that's going to be Tianzi picking up the kill now as Hoon goes in for the Yin reaction. But Apex 47 dives in, and Chicken will be able to flicker out for now. Alien gets the immobilized, forcing Chicken to go for the vengeance, and Apex takes him down.
Bloodthirsty Kings, they get hold of the turtle, but I believe Ulfinar, they're really happy with the trades that they got. Bloodthirsty Kings, they were able to create that proper zoning. They were able to look for the members. They were able to zone out Rosa, but they gave Ulfinar enough time to actually regroup and for Tianzi to even catch up to that team fight. He didn't go straight to the turtle right after securing his purple buff. He was also trying to get his orange buff, but even then he left it. He said, all right, I'm just gonna join, and that rewarded Ulfinar a lot.
Definitely did. They just played it super slow. They wanted to get the mount before going in. That's the thing, right? When you're up against a Spreadgen on the Joy, you want to come in as the assassin. You need to come in last. If you come in early in the fight, there's so much CC from BTK, and you can already see it over to Apex, Tianzi. Walking up now over to Hoon. That's a Frigid Glacier to set up for the electrifying beats. Onto Zia now. Apex getting a good kick over, but the Purify gets him out. Zia still kiting away. Apex very low. Shark unable to go and march in forward. Zane will be able to get some damage down onto Alien, but that's about it.
I feel like this entire situation is becoming something Ulfinar really consistently takes advantage of. Their early rotations coming in from their XP lane and the information that they're able to get immediately, but that's a trade. They take Apex 47, so I don't think they'll be as aggressive towards this bottom lane anymore.
Like, it's a kill, right? It's good for Zia, but it was also great for Sunshine. He got almost the entirety of the turret gold there down below. And we saw how the Bruno matchup against the Granger played out just earlier, so... Again, that's going to be quite concerning, you know, giving Bruno gold in the early game once he gets the Milfic gun. Oh, I don't know, man. Sunshine, he might actually be able to rival Mr. Siggy Boom as, you know, the Turkish trigger man.
I mean, earlier we saw towards the late game, at least 3 basic attacks being enough to take out the late game Granger, and I think we're seeing Zia going for the exact same emblem combinations even, but who will be able to take hold of this turtle? Both teams are able to see each other right now.
Level advantage, that's a Jikundo, Mobazane gets it. The last hit over with skill 1 in the Red Tree. Chicken walks in with vengeance, and Alien will just disengage. Neutral objective control for BTK.
I think Mobazane's here to remind us of how reliable the Fredrin is when it comes to getting these objectives. That's a second consecutive turtle that Mobazane was able to secure for his team. So I think regardless of the more successful engagement, hold on, Rosa will be able to get out of this. So, whoa.
Close, very close. Has to use the flicker. And Apex will be able to grant him some safety up top. Chicken could be able to survive this. There's no real kill threat here. Bottom lane, that's a diversion. Sunshine going to be caught. Hoon missing out the Indian reaction, but Zia gets the last hit. Apex with the way to drag, but Revitalize gets popped in by Shark, and now Apex is forced back. They have essentially already shut down Sunshine. Now they're going to get a shove down, and what are they going to look to group?
That was a really quick response from BTK though. Like the moment they knew there were 2 members trying to actually get some of White Chicken's attention, an immediate diversion towards the bottom lane, and a very great or a rewarding kill that they could secure up against the Sunshine, who earlier we mentioned, he's just getting all the farm. He's going unnoticed, but now Bloodthirsty Kings, they're paying attention as well. So they want to shut down these winning conditions for Ulfinar. And we also haven't paid much attention to how Bloodthirsty Kings, they're actually showing some slightly better control in terms of taking the conversions and objectives of the turrets.
I think they're doing a much better job so far here. Only the turret gold really going to Ulfednar, right? But in the mid game, late game, getting these turrets, that's what's important here. Not just that turret gold. And Zia is already being swapped up top. Let's see how they get this. Zia just getting 3 hits down. Doesn't look like Ulfednar want to walk, and Mobazane doing a good job on this Fred. That's Moba Fred for you.
I can imagine how hyped up those former Fredrin users are right now, or do we really call them former? Because either way, I think we're gradually seeing a increase the number of Fredrin appearances. Who knows? This might not be the first or the last time we'll see the Fredrin here in M6, and this is the third and last turtle that, compared to the first two, Ulfednar won't be contesting anymore.
Perfect turtle for the Bloodthirsty Kings. 3 for 3, and now they play the slow game. They're just waiting for them, for Zia, I would say, right, to get to those item power spikes. It does seem like for Hoon, he should be already on it. So, I don't know, man. It's just a slow game at this point, right? They just want to outrange Ulfednar, and they want to peel for Zia.
Yeah, and it's
Protect
nice.
Mr. President.
It's nice to see, like, Bloodthirsty Kings gradually adapting to this kind of a playstyle. We know for one that if it was Fly Chicken we're talking about, the eager one to make the plays, the one who wants to go for those really aggressive XP laners, but it seems like they're adjusting really well to this high loss XP gameplay that they're showing us. They're really able to protect the key members we are actually watching out for here in BTK and pick the right team fight. It's speaking of... Alright, that's another diversion play they do up top. So right now, the problem for Ulfednar definitely is how could they expect all these team fights that will come from BTK? And now that they're struggling to get the pickoffs, they're struggling to get the way of the dragon towards towards Zia. But speaking of, that's at the tip though.
Great final slash no Flaker. Now Rose is going to be caught. Fly Chicken just staying on him. The way to Dragon appeal, but now the vengeance and the last shot. Rosa is down. Sunshine gets a trade in the bottom lane. That's a tier 1, but still, Bloodthirsty Kings definitely leading here. And I don't know, Brigitte, but BTK, this team finally coming back on stage. The color scheme, the stage. It really, I don't know, this tournament feels a whole lot like M3, man. You can see Chicken walk up again, get in the final slash, baiting out the Purify as well. Hoon can be targeted down by TNZ, but he's still able to get the yin-yang reaction and get some shielding, and he will be able to escape for a bit. Hoon get the shielding again. Oh, the stun coming in, TNZ! Outplayed by Hoon and Shark with the Revitalize, and now it's a full dive. Appraiser's Wrath from Mobazane. Chicken going for the kill, and that's a stab from Mobazane. He will be taken down. Chicken gets out, though, and it becomes a great trade for BTK. That's a 2 for 1, and they only lose their tank jungler.
And they immediately convert and take out some of the remaining resources from Ulfednar as well. BTK, they're that much ahead that Hoon has the liberty to just throw out all those combos to get those shields and sustain these attempts from TNZ. It's not something you would typically see for a Joy who's able to isolate his key targets. But just with Shark beside Hoon, he was able to sustain everything. And this might be a very difficult situation for Ulfednar if they do want to go after this Lord. TNZ though, he's 1 level, oh no, he is 1 level ahead of Mobazane.
You still have the clear speed, right? Way better clear speed compared to Fredrin. The only reason Zane is able to actually be just 1 level down is because he got 3 turtles. If we didn't get the 3 turtles, maybe we would see like a 3-level dip for TNZ here. But hey, now he's equal actually to TNZ. He will be on the Lord. They're actually playing with the Mobazane, walking up. Gonna go for a bit of a trade here. The Lord has been taken very low. A quarter of its HP. Zia still holding on to it. The Lord dance is a bit tricky nowadays. The diversion into the top. Alien's gonna be caught. A full dive into TNZ. Has the damage. Electrifying beast. Zia, that's a bad spot to be in. Zia assassinated. Now Shark mounted on as well. Mobazane, unfortunately, unable to survive. Sunshine go for the free hits now as he is free hitting the entire fight. Shark will fall as well. Sunshine with a double. Hoon Purify now. Sunshine with the chase. TNZ very low. Fly Chicken waiting in the bush again as Ulfednar take control of the game through Sunshine on the Bruno.
That might have not been the best target here for Bloodthirsty Kings, or probably if we were to like rewind it a bit, it seems like they were really trying to go after TNZ, but they did not have as much idea that Alien was also there, that Ulfednar, they were already all around that area trying to position themselves prior to this Lord, and unexpectedly they will be able to take hold of it instead. So it's Bloodthirsty Kings who will be having to defend for this first Lord. But definitely they will have the resources, they have the range to do so. But Ulfednar, they wouldn't want to miss this opportunity to at least attempt and even out the map.
Definitely, Ulfednar, you know, the way that they have been able to utilize the Bruno and the wild card. We've seen how brutal Sunshine can be on this Bruno, and so far he's been farming, waiting for that item power spike. I wonder if he has the Melfic gun already. I'm gonna have to check real quick, and he does so. Melfic gun power spike online now for Ulfednar. It's a battle of the front to back, honestly, at this point, right? TNZ will have more ways to actually try to assassinate some of the members from BTK. But Ulfednar's front to back, it's kind of a different version. BTK plays a front to back with a lot of frontliners. Ulfednar played a front to back with a lot of assassin backline threats.
Yep.
So Tianzi essentially becomes kind of a distraction.
Yeah.
So that Sunshine can free hit like we saw earlier.
Yeah, and for Apex 47 to actually find the right targets this time around, I mean, they can be slightly more aggressive compared to earlier, but they decide to go for the diversion towards the purple buff.
Rosa gets caught, Apex gets away with the Dragon now, and Sunshine is completely zoned away. Apex with a flicker out, Alien split to escape, and it will just be a 1-for-0. The Lord advantage from Ulfednar, they were able to get some turrets, but BTK fend off the tier 2 in the mid lane.
Honestly, those those very decisive diversion plays can either go like really good or really bad for BTK, and that was an example of a really good diversion play. And as much as they probably had an idea that majority of the members of Ulfednar were there, it's also probably Ulfednar not expecting that they'd actually teleport there and pick a fight.
It's a tough plan to go for. Like Bloodthirsty, we saw the gold lead immediately just disappear with one wrong diversion. But one good diversion can turn the entire game around. For BTK though, they don't actually need to rely on the diversion that much. They can actually just play the normal front to backs as long as they keep Zia intact and as long as they actually save some of their CC abilities for Tianzi. This Joy is going to have a tough time diving into BTK.
Yep, and honestly, that's the play that has continuously punished these attempts from Ulfednar. The proper timings of the final slash, but they find Alien!
Alien just got disintegrated. Sunshine sniped down. That's another. Oh! Almost threading the needle. Apex 47 able to body block. But we're getting to a point in the game where the range is starting to play a big factor. Just like in game 1 with Innocent on the Granger, now it's Zia on that Granger.
Yeah, and I mean, even if they decide to like take on these fights head on and right in front of these members, that's like increased accuracy for those skill shot based skills from BTK to actually connect towards Ulfednar. And as we've seen it earlier, that's Alien, one of the tankiest heroes from Ulfednar. But he surprisingly just disappeared in the blink of an eye. So BTK, they may take control of this Lord pit. And could this be a much more successful attempt at taking the Lord compared to earlier?
They gotta play with the poke. I think, you know, they have all the tools to make it better than before. They just gotta play with Zia and Hoon. They have so many ways to chunk Ulfednar low before the fight even happens. Because for Ulfednar, it's really all about engaging. It's really all about destroying that front to back. If you poke them out of these fights, they might not even be able to do that. And you can see with the advantage they have in the side lane, yeah, Ulfednar will have to deal with the mid lane, will have to constantly rotate into the bottom lane later on as well. BTK have the control.
3 members are just hiding here in the left mid bush, but it seems like they have a different plan in mind. Sunshine!
Oh, gonna be caught in the flanks. Hoon with a diversion that might have just won them the game. Tianzi in the midst of it all, Tain CC'd. It is the mount on Shark, but you do not mount a horse without getting tapped down by the man who plays the horse. White Chicken takes him off. Alien is down. Apex will be forced to recall, and BTK get the 2-for-1.
And that clearly is a win for BTK here. Will they proceed with taking the Lord? Because some members seem to be running after TNZ right over here, but TNZ will still take him on.
Great electrifying beats and the winner crown too. Now it's Rosa who walks in forward. TNZ again taken down before he can go for the kill. Now Apex looking for the play, goes over to Ji Kundo, just buying a bit more time, and BTK will be forced back because of the damage that TNZ has done.
And you said it, they bought time. They bought enough time. Sunshine is now back in the game, but that's a quick diversion once again. Will they find Apex 47? They do, but he gets to Jeet Kundo out. So they regain control of this Lord, and now that Tianzi's gone, they will clearly take it for themselves. Not unless Ulfednar, they still want to attempt and take on a team fight.
No, way too dangerous. Good glorious pathway, and BTK take the enhanced Lord in the 16th minute of the game. That's Boba Fred for you, getting the neutral objective And now it's back to where they started when they had that gold lead. 2.6k gold lead over the BTK as they build this Lord advantage.
We're seeing a very systematic gameplay once again from Bloodthirsty Kings, but in some parts, a slightly experimental approach towards playing the game as well. We're looking at really good gold in the hands of key members of BTK right here. Hoon, you mentioned it, he's already completed all of his items compared to Rosa. Clearly struggling right now and trying to position himself as the Aurora. It seems like he's been a consistent target for BTK ever since the beginning of this game, but Hoon, wow.
Wow, that was a crazy diversion take from Hoon. I didn't think he would take it, but you know, he does. He knows that there were a lot of people there to help him out. Oh, Tianzi was looking for a flank, gets caught out and spotted out. He will just go to the purple buff. I don't know if BTK will... no, they won't chase Tianzi. They're just going to play with the Lord and maybe look for the Lord charge, but no. They're actually taking it super slow. Won't play for the Lord. The Lord gets taken down. Sunshine deals with it. They'll steal the purple buff away. Oh, now Apex is chain CC, but he does have the Shun Poo. So, yeah, it becomes a kind of just... It's an equalizer. Now they are on the same amount of turrets.
Yep, honestly, I feel like we're seeing some, or BTK having some second thoughts as to whether or not should they be reacting to the pressure that Tianzi is trying to create. In this kind of situation against BTK, where they're clearly trying to catch up, but that's one of the strengths that you would probably consider for this kind of assassin jungler, for the Joy. Like the mobility it has, the ability to close gaps or even just run away from these members of BTK and create or control the macro all by himself. It's one thing that could probably distract BTK from doing whatever they want to do, for doing whatever by the book attempt they want to proceed with in closing this game. But Apex 47, and even Tianzi, he comes in from behind.
Alien trying to split the mobs. He is still kiting away. Moba Zane able to sustain back up, but Alien won't be able to do the same. Oh, it's a battle of the frontliners, and Zane is on that Fredrin. So tanky and sustainable.
It seems like those sandwich plays aren't really working for the matches we've seen today, at least. That's a 3-man knockup though, but the immediate burst down!
For Chicken with the final slash finding, and the Abraser's Wrath to combo it in. Tenzi's in the midst of it all as a Joy gets the electrifying beats to win a crown of the immortality by. But now Tianzi able to escape. Mobasane walks back up, trying to go for the kill, and a Sunshine with a triple to save Ulfednar in game number 1 in this best of 1.
And this is no joke. I just want to say, I lost track. We were already 19 minutes into this game, so the death timers, they're actually quite long. They're actually extending the game to this point, and Tianzi with the high electrifying beats, will he be able to catch Shark? Not just yet, but still dashes in. Fortunately, there's the glorious pathway, but man, this is already an almost a 20-minute game.
It's coming to a point where we're gonna see one big fight, and then we're gonna see the end here. Ulfednar defending it, and now they're gonna go for the Lord. This is an Evolved Lord, so it's gonna be a bit tougher for BTK to deal with, and there's absolutely no chance they get to contest this. That's a free Evolved Lord over to Ulfednar.
This is actually devastating. Bloodthirsty Kings for the entire 18 minutes or so, having complete control, actually making Ulfednar kind of become so unsure of whether or not they actually want to position themselves in certain areas, because Bloodthirsty Kings, they have this tendency to really be first in terms of taking control of these brushes, but then in the blink of an eye, Ulfednar just relying on Sunshine's late game capability. Now we're seeing them being the more aggressive team. Bloodthirsty Kings, they have to defend this, but how reliable is their wave clear exactly when it comes to this point in time?
Good question. That's a really good question to ask. is the Granger going to be able to actually poke down the Lord enough for it to stop the siege? Because Ulfednar, they should have ways to actually zone BTK away and for Sunshine to just get some free hits onto the turret. If he does get those free hits. Oh, Tienzi's melting Mobazane down. Oh, with just a quarter of HP left, forced to use the Appraiser's Wrath, and the Evolved Lord will be able to charge down. That's a base turret taken down up top. Mobazane's going to be very careful with this Fredrin. BTK, they're able to fend off for now. They will be able to defend, but there are going to be some more waves in the mid lane. Ulfednar will not push forward. They will be happy with the base turret taken down up top.
If Tienzi hurts that much against Mobazane, how much more if he gains access to Zia, to Hoon, to the other less tanked members of BTK at this point? Because if we were to look at the item builds, this pretty much explains why Tienzi is starting to hurt so much.
Yep.
He's full build. He also picked up both the Holy Crystal and the Divine Glaive, and if ever he wants to create some crazy plays, some surprising plays, he can go for it. He has the Winter Crown in his arsenal as well.
The Winter Crown is such a good tool to have on the Joy, because the Electrifying Beast, I mean, with the new Winter Crown, it still comes out, right? So you're dealing damage with no risk at all while you're in the middle of the fight. And BTK, I think they've been kind of overconfident a lot of times, just sitting on the Electrifying Beast. I know you got the Athenas, I know you got that Radiant Armor, but hey man, it's better not to take that damage when he's on you. Better to actually move back again. I understand though, they want to try to just go for him right as he gets out of the Winter Crown. Unfortunately, Sunshine's there too, right? Tienzi's not the only damage dealer. If you stick like that, Sunshine's going to get that worldie down. He's going to be able to get those free hits. And that's why we've seen Sunshine be the assassin, funnily enough, right? He's not the main damage dealer. Tienzi's been the one chunking them low, but Sunshine's been getting the balls down.
Yep, I'm really glad you mentioned that, because for the first, or for at least the entire game almost that we've been seeing, it's this teaming up together. It's this 5-man rotations that have been really benefiting Bloodthirsty Kings. But at this point in time where Ulfednar, they can also do the same. They can rely on their team fight capabilities to its fullest. Will it still be the same story for BTK this time around? Because if they decide to stick together, Tienzi, he can just reach more targets. He can just dash through more targets. And Sunshine with a Worldie, he can just look for the free hits indefinitely. But Tienzi waits when...
No! BTK get the diversion, and Tienzi evaporates. 22 minutes in, that might be the play to win the game. Apex trying to open up the map now as Rosa goes in for the zone. Lord should be free. Sage still with the retribution. Apex immortality down. Sunshine with a purify. The final slash brings him into Sia's gunshots. The yin-yang reaction will get Hoon a double. And now Ulfednar will have to defend against the Evolved Lord of BTK.
While Sunshine is yet to return for nearly a minute. So Bloodthirsty Kings, they're really picking up the pacing. They want to make as much use of this Lord that they've secured for themselves. This is an Evolved Lord, and definitely you'd want to stick together this time. This is the moment you'd want to stick together and really stay by the Lord's side. But wait a minute!
Winter Crown into the Immortality. Tienzi buying some items, but is it going to be enough? Tienzi down. Hoon gets a killing spree. Apex with the conceal, Zia with the Sky Piercer. It's a diversion again to flank Ulfednar. Rosa pops into Frigid Glacier, trying to survive the Sky Piercer. That's one stack on the board. Apex buying a lot of time, but it is not gonna be enough as Chicken gets rid of him. Bloodthirsty Kings. BTK is back on the world stage.
A wipeout before securing the game. The return of BTK. Moba Fred, he's just proving us so much things on the first day.
He never fails to do it every single time. Able to just shatter expectations on stage.
You know what?
There's something with this team.
I'm just so glad we don't have to do those series predictions. We're kind of safe from doing all that, but how about the panel? They're not safe from doing all that, so let's ask them about their thoughts regarding this game.
The goal to make America bang again, and they came out with a banger against Ulfednar. And the funny thing is, we did say the question, or pose the question, are we gonna see a throwback to an old style? Yes, we did. And it's the Fredrin for Mobazane. The tank fighter jungler has returned, and that's what BTK is rolling with.
Yeah, the concussive Fredrin, Moba Fred, back at it. I am 100% positive that when he picked that up, the memes were going on in chat. The YouTube chat was, oh, only knows one hero. Well, that one hero just won their game against Ulfednar, and it was well played. I mean,